Gary Lineker really had 4 careers. First at Leicester as a kid and a young man, then on to Everton in a side that I believe that, but for other things that happened, would well have won the European Cup in 1986 it would have been. And then he went to Barcelona, where Johan Cruyff didn't really appreciate his skills as much as he should. I think he was probably right in choosing, I don't know whether he had a choice in the matter, but it was said he might go to Manchester United, and he came to Spurs and had another a lovely career.
There are 2 things that Gary Lineker's playing career will be known for. He never received the yellow card in an era where it was commonplace, but more importantly, he scored goals, lots of them.
There's Lineker out wide, looking to create some space. Still Gary Lineker! Well, you don't normally see goals like that from him. That was brilliant from Lineker.
He had this extraordinary positional flair in the box, sort of making himself invisible and suddenly materialising and scoring. I thought he was a remarkable player and a terrific player for England.
I mean, he's a predator with a smile, isn't he, Gary? Alan Hansen was always sort of reminding him that his football was only played in the last third of the field and possibly a bit less than the last third of the field, which wasn't fair. But he was an excellent finisher, an eye for the half chance. He didn't score spectacular goals, as he would admit himself, but he was always the Johnny on the spot.
Lineker signed for Spurs in 1989 after a brief spell abroad with Giants Barcelona. Approaching 30, it was felt this could be his last chance to win an English domestic honour, but he did more than just that, scoring an incredible 80 goals in 138 games and helping the club to the 1991 FA Cup final triumph.
I don't think necessarily we'd seen the best. I don't think he was on the down curve of his career. I think it was only, put me back in a position where I can do what I do best, and that's to score goals. Under 150 appearances here, but he scored not too far short of 100 goals in all competitions. So that speaks for itself. I think he had a really successful time here.
What he did was show quite clearly that all this rubbish about the need for aggression was rubbish indeed, because you couldn't think of a less aggressive player, and yet he was a beautiful player in his way. He had great skill, extreme anticipation, highly intelligent man, very humorous.
And he enjoyed himself here, and I know Tottenham fans enjoyed him being here. I said it was a difficult choice choosing the team, choosing the first of 50. I have no doubt about the goalkeeper. My choice in the end is between Ted Ditchburn and Pat Jennings. Got to go for my hero. Sorry, Pat.
Ted Ditchburn was a colossus of a goalkeeper. Son of a boxer, it was thought this would be the career path he would take until his decision to switch to football.
Ted Ditchburn might have been a boxer. He was built very strongly. He commanded his area, and I think that while he was playing for the Spurs team, he was the best goalkeeper in the country, and there were a lot of good goalkeepers around.
But he was a very fine goalkeeper. The funny thing was, although he was a big tough chap and a boxer among other things, he had a very nervous disposition, and he played a number of games for England very unsuccessfully initially. He showed remarkable nerves which undermined his performances. Then when he was well into his 30s, he came back again and played extremely well. He seemed to have mastered his temperament. But he was a very fine goalkeeper for Tottenham, excellent.
Ditchburn was an important springboard in the push and run team. A lot of the attacks would start from the back with the goalkeeper.
Is movie time. Leslie Mitchell reporting.
Ditchburn was a great one for catching the ball. So, all right, he's now got the ball in his possession. He wasn't a great hoofer of it down the pitch, and he had a very good arm, and he often started attacks by throwing it out to the wing, or indeed rolling it for Ramsey, and so on and so forth. It was part of the edict of keeping possession, pushing the ball around quickly. So some of the initial push came from Ramsey, some of the initial push came from throws from Ted Ditchburn. as a club goalkeeper, he was superb. And the great thing about him that I remember so well was his ability to catch the ball. I mean, we're talking about the ball with the lace and the panels and hard and so on and so forth. If he had to push the ball around the post, that was a semi-failure to Ted Ditchburn. And I can remember as though it was yesterday, coming down here with my uncle and watching a chap called Billy Little playing for Liverpool, giving Alf Ramsey one of the hardest matches he's probably ever had. And late on in the game, he took on Ramsey again, cut inside him from the left wing and hit an absolute screamer with his right foot that was about that much off the ground. And Ditchburn, who was 6'2", I would think, something like that, flung himself to his right and caught the ball just inside the post. Didn't push it round, he caught the ball. And he was known for his ability to make saves, and the ball didn't run away, it was in his hands. And I wanted to be a goalkeeper, and he and Dennis Compton shared my wall in my bedroom.
Steve Archibald is unique in having a Spurs career which fits perfectly with the winning of trophies. Signed in 1980 from Aberdeen, Steve was part of the FA Cup winning sides of 81 and 82 and the UEFA Cup final of 1984 before moving to Barcelona at the end of that season.
A highly effective player in Barcelona. He was quite idiosyncratic, you know, but he was a lively, off the field, a lively, intelligent, humorous person, and on the field, the old saying, he was really Quicksilver, wasn't he? Playing perfectly off the striker with had great anticipation, pace, and he was a £1 million player, of course, for Tottenham, and he did pretty well for them.
I used to sort of like hold the ball up for him, and because I wasn't never the quickest, but he was lightning off 5 yards, and I used to just lay him down, and he would just put him in the net, which was great, really, you know. Big target man, and he was like Quicksilver, so it worked quite well.
The partnerships Steve had throughout the side during his time were priceless, particularly his link play with the likes of Glenn Hoddle in midfield and Garth Crooks in attack.
Towards Archibald!
The most enjoyable pairing to play with was Steve Archibald and Garth Crooks. I think Big Mark Falco did ever so well. He was a great player, great finisher. Clive Allen I played with was a wonderful finisher. But I just felt for my game, when Archibald and Crooks came and we had this telepathic thing, it was just the icing on the cake for my style of football. And I think is what the team needed as well.
Steve was a bit of a loner, could be pretty taciturn at times, whereas, you know, Garth has always had a ready smile. And you know, it worked for both of them, and of course Garth went off to Manchester United eventually. But it was a good time for those two, and I think they were integral. I know Garth will say he was better at this and better at that. I think he's being a little bit harsh on himself. But Steve Archibald was class.
I thought he was an extremely intelligent, lively person, and he was a very lively, intelligent footballer.